I want you to think about something for a second. You've been doing everything right, contributing to your 401k every paycheck, maybe maxing your Roth IRA, letting the market do its thing, trusting the long game. And every time you log in and see that number going up, there's this quiet feeling of, okay, I'm going to be okay. But here's a question nobody's asking out loud yet. What's actually inside your retirement account right now? Because if you have a standard target date fund, the default option in the vast majority of American 401k plans, you are heavily exposed to the S&P 500. And the S&P 500 right now is carrying an AI concentration problem that most people don't even know exists. The 5 largest companies in the S&P 500, Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Alphabet, and Amazon, account for approximately 28% of the entire index. Every single one of them has a significant portion of their valuation tied directly to AI growth narratives. And if those narratives crack, if the AI bubble deflates the way the dotcom bubble did in 2000, the damage doesn't stay on Wall Street. It comes directly for the retirement accounts of ordinary Americans who are just trying to save for the future. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how that happens, 5 specific mechanisms, real math, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it before the correction arrives, instead of after. My name is Yang. I cover crypto, personal finance, and the financial systems that affect real people's money on this channel. If you want content that tells you what's actually happening, not just what's comfortable, subscribe and hit the like button. Let's get into it. Before the 5 ways, the context, because I want you to understand the scale of what we're talking about. The AI investment boom has driven some of the most concentrated valuation surges in stock market history. Nvidia alone went from a market cap of approximately $300 billion in early 2023 to over $3 trillion by mid-2025, a 10x increase in roughly 24 months. A price-to-earnings ratio of 60 to 70 means investors are paying $60 to $70 for every $1 of actual profit Nvidia generates. For context, the historical average PE ratio of the S&P 500 is approximately 16 to 17x. We are not in normal valuation territory, and when valuations this stretch have corrected historically, they have corrected hard and fast. The dot-com crash of 2000 erased $6.2 trillion in market value. The 2008 financial crisis wiped out approximately $7.4 trillion in retirement savings alone. $60,000 from a retirement account that took years to build, not from a bad investment decision, from sitting in the default fund that 70% of 401k participants never change. That's the threat. Now let's talk about the 5 specific mechanisms through which it reaches your account. Way number 1, and this is the one that catches the most people off guard, because index funds are supposed to be the safe, diversified option, the thing your financial advisor told you to set and forget. And here's what most people don't realize. Index funds are not equally diversified. They are market cap weighted. That means the bigger the company, the more of your money goes into it automatically. So when you put $100 into an S&P 500 index fund, $28 of it goes into 5 companies, all of them heavily exposed to AI valuations. All of them priced at multiples that assume AI growth continues indefinitely. On a $150,000 retirement account, $42,000 is sitting in those 5 companies. Not because you chose them, because the index chose them for you, automatically, invisibly, without asking. If those 5 stocks correct 50%, which Nvidia and several dot-com era equivalents did during the 2000 bust, that $42,000 becomes $21,000 in your retirement account while you thought you were diversified. Way number 2, and this one is specifically for anyone who has a target date fund, which, based on the data, is most people reading this in a 401k. Target date funds automatically shift from stocks to bonds as you approach retirement. The idea? More growth when you're young, more stability as you age. Sounds logical. Here's the problem. A 40-year-old with a 2045 target date fund has 80% of their retirement savings in stocks. And those stocks are S&P 500 heavy, which means they are AI concentration heavy. The fund gradually reduces stock exposure, but it does so based on time, not based on market conditions. It has no mechanism to recognize that valuations are stretched. It has no trigger to reduce AI exposure when the sector overheats. It just follows the glide path regardless of what the market is doing. A 40-year-old with $200,000 in a 2045 fund has approximately $44,800 exposed to the top 5 AI-heavy stocks, automatically, without awareness, inside a fund specifically marketed as the hands-off safe option. Way number 3, and this one requires us to look at one company specifically. Because NVIDIA's role in the AI bubble isn't like anything we've seen since Cisco's systems in 1999. Cisco was the infrastructure company of the dotcom era, the company whose hardware powered the internet. Investors assumed internet growth was infinite. Cisco's stock peaked at a PE ratio of over 200x, and then it fell 86% from its peak. It took more than 20 years to return to its dotcom high. If NVIDIA follows even a partial Cisco trajectory, a 50% correction rather than 86%, and you have $150,000 in an S&P 500 fund. $4,500 lost from a single stock that you didn't consciously choose to own. And that's before accounting for the broader market decline that typically accompanies a major stock correction at this scale. Here's what makes this alarming. NVIDIA's decline would likely trigger sentiment-driven selling across the entire AI sector simultaneously. The individual stock loss and the sector loss happen at the same time, compounding the damage to your account faster than any rebalancing can respond. Way number 4, and this one isn't about the market at all, it's about you. And it might be the most expensive item on this entire list. Dalbar's annual quantitative analysis of investor behavior consistently finds that the average investor significantly underperforms the market over 20-year periods. Not because they picked bad funds, but because they panic sold during downturns and bought back in too late. In a bubble correction, that behavioral gap widens dramatically. Panic selling during a correction doesn't just lock in the loss. It eliminates the recovery, and the psychological pull towards selling when the numbers are red is one of the most powerful behavioral forces in investing. It's not a weakness, it's biology. Your brain is wired to treat financial loss like physical danger. The protection isn't willpower, it's a pre-committed strategy decided before the volatility arrives, which I'll cover in the action steps. Way number 5, and this one targets people within 5 to 10 years of retirement, and it's the most devastating of the 5 because it's the least reversible sequence of returns risk. The idea that the order in which your investment returns occur matters as much as the average return itself. To investors, same average return over 20 years, Investor A, strong returns early, weak returns in final 5 years. Result, retirement account intact. Time to recover before withdrawal begins. Investor B, weak returns in the final 5 years before retirement. Result, retirement account severely damaged. Withdrawals begin during or after the crash. The same 40% crash that a 35-year-old can recover from over the following decade becomes a retirement-ending event for a 62-year-old who starts withdrawing the following year. If the AI bubble corrects 40% in 2026 or 2027, the people most affected are not the young aggressive investors. They are the people who quietly are counting down the years to retirement who assumed the market would hold long enough. Here are protective actions to help you. Action number 1, log into your 401k today. Look at your actual holdings. Find out what percentage is in S&P 500 index funds or target date funds. Calculate your actual AI concentration exposure. Action number 2, consider diversifying beyond US large cap. International funds, small cap value funds, and bond funds all have lower AI concentration. Even shifting 15 to 20% reduces your exposure meaningfully. Action number 3, if you're within 10 years of retirement, review your glide path. Talk to a fee-only fiduciary financial advisor about sequence of returns risk. Consider a more conservative allocation than your target date fund's default. Action 4, set a pre-committed rule before volatility hits. Decide now, if my account drops some percentage, I will not sell. I will rebalance instead. Written rules made in calm moments override emotional decisions made in panic. And last action, keep contributing, especially during a correction. Dollar cost averaging during a downturn purchases more shares at lower prices. The people who kept contributing through 2008 and 2009 recovered faster than anyone. Here's the thing about everything I just showed you. This is not a prediction. Nobody knows when the AI bubble corrects, or if it corrects in the dramatic fashion of 2000 or 2008. What I'm showing you is the mechanism, the specific channels through which a concentrated AI correction reaches ordinary retirement accounts held by people who thought they were safely diversified. The preparation for a correction that might happen is infinitely cheaper than the recovery from a correction that already did. Checking your holdings today costs you nothing. Rebalancing a small percentage of your allocation costs you nothing. Deciding in advance not to panic sell costs you nothing. The 5 ways I showed you today are real structural risk sitting inside the most common retirement account in America. Now you know they exist, and knowing is most of the protection. If this gave you something to think about before the next time you log into your retirement account, please hit the like button, subscribe for weekly content on investing, crypto, and personal finance, and drop a comment below. Have you actually looked at what's inside your 401k recently? And what percentage is sitting in AI-heavy stocks? I read every single comment below. See you next time. Bye!